Hey there, brother friends and sister friends. Welcome back to the Heart Set Above podcast in our Nearness series. In our last episode, we talked about reflection, how it creates space to step back, to notice, and to reconnect. But one of the most powerful built-in rhythms that God has already given us for reflection, for connection, and for just simply being with Him is the Sabbath. Now, when we hear the word Sabbath, I think a lot of us picture a day of rest. And yes, God rested on the seventh day, and we're invited to rest too. But here's the thing. In our modern world, we've defined rest to mean things like binging Netflix or scrolling Instagram or ordering takeout or doing nothing at all. And while those things can feel good for a moment, I love them too, they don't actually restore our souls. What God gave us in the Sabbath is something deeper, not just rest, but restoration. The kind of restoration that fills the ache in our hearts, the kind of restoration that reconnects us to Eden, where humanity lived fully connected to God, to ourselves, to others, and even to creation. Sabbath is more than just taking a break. It's stepping into that kind of soul restoration. It's choosing the practices that connect us with God's presence, with His people, with His good gifts, because that's what truly brings peace and joy and life. Did you know that the Sabbath is part of the Ten Commandments? Truthfully, I kind of grew up thinking this was one of the Old Testament rules, that it was something Jewish people kept, but when Jesus came, He sort of did away with it. But that's not actually fully true. First, Sabbath is in the Ten Commandments. And honestly, I can't think of any other commandment from that list that we've just tossed out with the Old Covenant. Second, Jesus Himself practiced the Sabbath. Yes, He confronted the legalism that had grown up around it. He told people to use wisdom and to layer God's values on top of Sabbath observance, like saving a life or helping someone in need. But He never said that Sabbath wasn't necessary. In fact, if anything, Jesus modeled it over and over in the Gospels. We see Him pruning His own life, pulling away for days, weeks, even months at a time to be alone with the Father. He didn't just preach rest, He practiced it. Clearly, Sabbath and a Sabbath-like mindset and rhythm mattered deeply to Him. And if it mattered to Jesus, it should matter to us. So Sabbath is part of the Ten Commandments, but it's not just any commandment, it's the fourth commandment. Now, God is really into numbers. He and Taylor Swift share that passion, I think. And it's no accident that the Sabbath commandment is the fourth one. It sits right in the middle. The first three commandments are vertical commandments. They focus on our connection with God. Have no other gods before me. Don't take my name in vain. Don't make idols. They're all about guarding and treasuring our relationship with Him. And the last six commandments are horizontal commandments. They tell us how to treat one another. Don't murder, don't steal, don't lie, don't covet. These are the ways we steward our relationships with other people. And right in the middle of those vertical and horizontal commandments sits the Sabbath. It's like the hinge that connects the two. Sabbath is what roots us in God so that we can love people well. It's what keeps our vertical relationship with Him strong so that our horizontal relationships with others can flourish. And without that hinge, the whole structure weakens. So Sabbath isn't just an Old Testament leftover. It's a God-designed rhythm for how to live well in both directions, loving Him and loving others. I really believe that Sabbath is our main connection back to Eden. Think about it. Eden itself would have been one eternal day of Sabbath, a life of perfect nearness with God, perfect rest, perfect delight. And every time we practice Sabbath, we're reconnecting with that part of our souls that still remembers Eden, the part of us that was created for it, the part that still aches for it. Sabbath is like a bridge between what was lost and what will one day be restored. It's a way of living even now in alignment with how we were designed from the beginning. You see, the Sabbath is at its core a celebration of being made in God's image. And what is God? He's a creator, but not just a creator, He's a disciplined creator. He knows when to stop. And in His image, He made us as His little creators here on earth. And we too are called not just to create, right, to go forth, multiply, fill the earth and subdue it. We're also called to create with discipline to know when to stop. And when we lose that discipline, when we become consumed with endless doing, everything falls out of balance. That's what we saw all the way back in Eden. That's what echoes throughout the rest of the Bible. And that's what plays out in our own lives today. And here's the danger. If we fail to live as disciplined doers, our desires stop being something that we have, and they start being something that we are. That's exactly the temptation the serpent presented to Eve, that her longing could define her identity. That's why God insists on Sabbath. God is saying, stop. Trust me enough to rest. Rest in your identity as mine, not as ruled by your desires. Without Sabbath, whether it's a literal day of rest or simply a Sabbath mindset, we drift. We lose our anchor. We lose sight of our identity as God's children. Now, in my family, we've adopted a little motto for our Sabbath celebration every week: cease, abide, delight. Cease the hustle, abide in the Lord, and delight in Him and the good gifts He's already given you. That's the being that our souls crave. So start small, brother friends and sister friends, but intentionally put down your tools, your strivings, your doing. Learn again to be disciplined creators just like God. Because Sabbath isn't just about stopping work. It's about remembering who you are and whose you are. If you need some ideas on how to start implementing Sabbath in your own life, one of my favorite resources is John Mark Comer's book, The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. It's practical, it's grounded, and it paints such a clear picture of how life-giving Sabbath rhythms can be. Thanks so much for being here with me today. As you go, may your day be filled with the peace, the joy, the security that can only come from deep connection with the God who made you and the God who invites you to rest in Him.